Early radio changed everything. The radio has been one of the most important technological devices for more than a century. Radio provides communication as well as entertainment throughout the societies of many cultures. Several inventors led to modern radio today. Radio technology has always included electronic signaling between a transmitter and one or more receivers. Nikola Tesla created many advances in early radio. Early radio consisted of similar content as today's stations. Radios became product of the mass market. People could tune in to several different radio stations and listen to jazz, music, comedy, entertainment, or news. Sports scores and serial shows were also common on early radio stations. Jazz consisted of a melting pot of different music. Here is an example of a jazz song from the early 1920s that would have aired on the radio several times. This song is called Me and the Man in the Moon by Les Grands Orchestra de Libération. Radio changed the world and the way people lived their lives. News and information could be spread through radio. Radio was the main public communication system in the 1920s and still serves as the same purpose today. Radio hasn't changed much from the 1920s. People could know about events that happened all around the world by just tuning in to a radio station conveniently out of their home radio receiver. KCBS is often regarded as the very first commercial radio station in the country, but there are others that produce regular radio programming and services around the same decade. In 1919, a University of Wisconsin-Madison radio station boasted the first human speech to go out over the airwaves. It was only a matter of 2 years before music was one of the more common uses that people were using radio for. Jazz, blues, and ragtime were the main genres of the time. The first radio frequency used the AM frequency in 1906 during World War I. Because of its reliability, it was also the most popular It was also the most popular radio frequency for broadcasting in beginning of 1920. The AM frequency remained the dominant frequency for broadcasting over 3 decades. This period is often referred to as the golden age of radio. FM radio was developed in the 1940s. Here's an example of how radio works from an actual early radio station.
And so, we're on the air. Let's see how the broadcast gets from the studio to your home. Of course, you don't hear the real sounds over your home radio. What you hear is a translation of the sounds. Sound travels in waves. The picture of a sound wave, if we could see it, would look very much like this. These sound waves, made by the musical instruments, travel in all directions at once. Some of them are hitting that microphone and being picked up by it. The microphone is simply an electrical ear, the ear of the broadcast listeners. It picks up sound waves and converts them into electrical current. The operation of the microphone is very similar to the telephone in your home. Any sound, such as music or a voice, pushes this metal ribbon back and forth, causing a corresponding back and forth movement in an electrical current. When I say 1, the ribbon moves back and forth. Watch again. 1. This action of the ribbon sends an electrical current along the wire that leads from the microphone. If I say 1, 2, 3, 4, the ribbon dances back and forth a lot of times and sends a lot of different currents down the wire. All the electrical currents from all the microphones are controlled and sent out to the transmitting stations. These currents form what we call the audio wave, a wave you can hear. The audio wave still looks like this after it has been changed into electrical current. We want to make this wave stronger, so we amplify it here in the studio control room and again in the master control room. Each time we amplify it, the wave looks a little bigger, like this. Now this wave must travel over wires to the transmitting station hundreds and sometimes thousands of miles from the studio.
Rubinoff and the orchestra now offer for your entertainment a rhythmic arrangement of Spring, Beautiful Spring.
The audio wave coming over wires from the studio is amplified again immediately after it reaches the transmitter. But the trouble with this wave is that it can't carry itself anywhere. So we have to produce another wave that will travel long distances and carry the audio wave with it. The audio wave looks like small water waves. It will only go a short distance, getting weaker and weaker, and finally dying out. In water, little waves can travel a long way if they hitch a ride on a larger wave. So for radio, we make a larger, more powerful wave to carry the little waves. This carrier wave is made by what we call the oscillator. The oscillator acts like an electric pump, producing smooth and steady power that looks like this. When the wave made by the orchestra goes into the transmitter, it is put together with the carrier wave by a process called modulation. The modulator controls the flow of the carrier wave and impresses on this flow the music of the orchestra so that the combination looks like this. The carrier wave supplies the power, and the wave made in the microphone writes its signature on it. The result is the radio wave. Now comes the job of making this radio wave strong enough so that it will get to your radio. In order that you may hear it, we have to amplify the current in these big tubes gradually through several stages. In the first stage, the wave looks a little bigger. Then it gets still bigger, more powerful, and finally, it thunders out of the power strong enough to carry it over a wide radius. This radio wave is then sent to the antenna from which it is released. It leaves the antenna as vibrations and travels in all directions with the speed of light. The wave spreads out for hundreds of miles, and finally, your own aerial picks up a small amount of the original vibrations. Radio waves from many programs are being picked up by your radio all the time. You can select any one you wish by merely tuning in your set to receive the same number of vibrations as a particular station is broadcasting. The radio wave is picked up by the aerial on your car and is carried into the radio set. This wave is still a combination of sound and carrier waves, and your radio set must separate them. This is done in a little device called the detector tube. You've seen one in your own radio. This detector cuts off the bottom part of the wave so that if we follow the top line of what's left, we have an audio current wave exactly like the one we made in the studio. Then the other tubes amplify this current, and as it reaches your loudspeaker, it moves the diaphragm back and forth and is translated into a very good likeness of the sounds you would hear in the studio. Listen.
You are invited to listen to this program at this same time next week, when we will again present Rubinoff and his violin.
We'll be right back after this short advertisement.
At your neighborhood service station, they call it Esso. The new Esso gives you premium performance, unexcelled at regular price. And the new Esso Extra is unexcelled at any price. Extra quick starts, extra power, extra anti-knock. You can take your choice. These two great gasolines are both extra value for the money.
For service that is tops and gas that's extra fine. There's a smile for every mile at the Esso sign. E-S-S-O makes your car go. Happy motoring.
Early radio played a major role in the influence of other technological advances. Before the radio, the world wasn't very connected at all. After the invention of the radio, countries could communicate and help each other. Early radio also played a major role in wars. Communication in war is extremely helpful to plan, expect, and recover from battles. The world would simply not be the same without the invention of the radio. The rapid spread of radio listeners and programs led to inevitable confusion and disruption. Radio waves were up for grabs as stations competed with one another for time and listeners. Many programs overlapped. Here's an example of an early radio comedy.
with Allie B. playing Modular. Now, for your listening pleasure, here is the Amos and Andy Show.
Andy, tell me one thing. Is you a Democrat or is you a Republican?
Well, I was a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe I've done switched over to the Republicans now.
Who is the men that is running against each other this year election time? Explain that to me.
Herbert Hoover, Vesuvius Al Smith.
Herbert Hoover, Vesuvius, Al Smith, huh?
Yeah.
Another thing I'm going to ask you. What is the difference between a Democrat and a Republican?
Well, one of them is a mule and the other one is an elephant. That's the way I get it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I was going to be a Democrat or a Republican, you know it?
Well, what was your ancestors?
My aunt didn't have no sisters.
No, not your aunt's sisters, your ancestors. I mean, how did your old man vote?
Oh, my papa, you mean?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Papa used to always vote for the Democrats.
Well, then if I was in your place, I would vote for the Republicans.
How come?
'Cause I ain't never knowed your old man to do nothing right in his life.
Wait a minute now, wait a minute. Don't say no more about him now.
Well, on the other hand, though, I believe you ought to vote for the Democrats 'cause you look more like a mule than anything I know.
Well, I'm willing to be whichever is the best one. I don't care. I'm willing to be either one.
Well, then, let's be Democrats and vote for Herbert Hoover. Wait a minute, though. Wait a minute. What is he?
Herbert Hoover is a Democrat, ain't he?
He was a Democrat. Maybe he done changed over.
I believe you got that wrong, ain't you?
Yeah, that's right. Hoover is a Republican. But if you like Hoover, you can still vote for him and be a Democrat.
Well, tell me this. I'm going to ask you another question here.
What's that?
How you know who to vote for? That's the thing. That's a question right there now.
Look up the record. Look at President Coolidge. What did he do during his admiration?
He's been fishing most of the time, ain't he?
Listen, Coolidge is a Republican. And for the last 4 years or so, he has done had Hoover locked up waiting to put him in office.
What do you mean he done had Hoover locked up?
Well, I was reading in the paper right after Hoover was nominated that Coolidge was getting ready to take Hoover out the cabinet.
He better get out and get some fresh air if he gonna be president, I tell you that.
Listen, Amos, you don't know politics like I do. You ain't regressive.
What do you mean I ain't regressive? What do regressive mean?
Well, you know what re mean, R-E.
Oh, yeah, I know what re mean, all right.
Well, dress like you dress something, then sieve like a sieve. There you is.
Oh, yeah, that's different. Why didn't you say that in the first place?
Well, that's just what you ain't. I knows politics. I was gonna do some stump speaking.
I done smoked as many stumps as you is. I ought to be able to do some, too. Tell me this. Why can't they have a Democrat and a Republican president at the same time? Let Hoover be president one week and Al Smith be president the next week. Ain't no use to have a lot of hard feelings.
Amos, the president of the country don't have nothing to do now. The trouble with that is, the Republican would get everything messed up for the Democrat and vice versa.
And what?
Vice versa.
He ain't running, is he?
Who ain't running?
Bryce Vissers.
I didn't say Bryce Vissers. I said vice versa.
Is he a Democrat or a Republican?
Oh.
Well, I don't know Bryce Vissers.
You don't know nothing. Vice versa ain't no man.
Well, what is he doing in the White House then?
He ain't in the White House. Boy, you is dumb.
I ain't no dumber than you is.
You is just as dumb as I is, though. Now listen, Amos. I told you that if you put two presidents in there, they would mess up things for each other.
Well, that would give them something to do. Try to straighten out each other.
So, Betty, are you a Democrat or a Republican?
I'm not a Republican. I'm a Republican. What about you, Barbara?
I don't know. Do I look more like a mule or an elephant to you?
Well, you got the nose of a mule and the ears of an elephant. The way I see it, you could be either.
Well, now, is that supposed to be an insult or a compliment?
I don't know. You asked.
Well, who am I supposed to vote for then?
Well, there's always Bryce Vissers. Could vote for him.
Okay, but what party is he running for?
Okay, let's go to Bonnie Mae with the local news.
Today marks the 1-month anniversary of Amelia Earhart and Wilma Schultz's departure from Trepasy Harbor, Newfoundland.
Hello, we're back on. Thank you for listening. Early radio listeners of one program were frequently interrupted by overlapping programs. In addition, the public, the government, and emerging radio corporations viewed radio as a means of public service, rarely as a vehicle for personal profit. Radio manufacturers alone experienced financial gain from the radio boom. Radio announcers, DJs, and stations worked on non-profit basis. Advertising was not introduced until the later 1920s, changing the public service face of the radio to one of private gain. Radio quickly became used to advertise products. This changed the world worked. Radio would not be the same. The world would not be the same without radio, and vice versa. Here's one last example of some jazz. Thank you for listening. Your local Los Alamitos radio station, and we'll close it out with another excellent jazz song from the Roaring '20s called I Want to Be Loved by You by the Broadway Nightlights.
Nobody else but you. I want to be kissed by you alone. I couldn't aspire to anything higher than to a desire to make you my own. I want to be loved by you, just you and nobody else but you. I want to be loved by you alone.